Her name was Maria Lopez, though that's not her real name because she never wanted the attention. She was a single mother of two, working double shifts as a home health aide in a small town outside Monterey, California. Every morning before dawn, she'd pack lunches, get her kids on the bus, and drive 45 minutes to care for elderly patients who often didn't remember her name by lunchtime. Every evening, she'd come home exhausted, help with homework, make dinner from whatever was on sale, and lie awake wondering how she'd make next month's mortgage payment. The house wasn't fancy, just a modest, a 200-square-foot bungalow with peeling paint and a leaky roof she kept patching with tar and hope. But it was hers, the first place she'd ever owned, the first place her kids had ever called home without the fear of eviction hanging over them. And for that, she'd fight to keep it, even if it meant skipping meals, selling her grandmother's jewelry, or working weekends she couldn't afford to lose. Then, one rainy Tuesday in the fall of 2022, everything changed. She came home to find a letter in her mailbox, not from the bank, not from a bill collector, but from a law firm in Carmel she'd never heard of. Her hand shook as she opened it, bracing for another notice of late fees or foreclosure warnings. Instead, the letter said simply, "Your mortgage has been paid in full. No further action is required." This gesture was made anonymously at the request of a private individual who wishes you and your family nothing but peace and stability. She read it 3 times. Then she sat on the porch steps and cried. Not just from relief, but from the overwhelming sense that someone had seen her. Not as a case file, not as a statistic, but as a human being doing her best in a world that rarely rewards quiet perseverance. It wasn't until months later, through a series of hushed conversations with a neighbor who knew someone at the title company, that the truth slowly surfaced. The payment had come from a trust linked to Clint Eastwood. No one knows exactly how he heard about Maria. Maybe it was through a local charity he quietly supports. Maybe a friend mentioned her story over coffee at his bar, the Hog's Breath Inn. Maybe he just saw her one day, bundled in a thin coat, waiting for the bus in the rain, and remembered what it felt like to work yourself raw just to keep a roof over your kids' heads. What's certain is this: he didn't do it for praise, he didn't ask for thanks, he didn't even tell his closest friends. When a reporter finally tracked down a spokesperson years later, the only comment was, "Mr. Eastwood believes that if you're going to help, you do it without fanfare." Kindness shouldn't come with a press release. For Maria, the impact was life-altering. With the mortgage gone, she could finally breathe. She went back to school part-time to become a nurse. Her daughter started music lessons. Her son, who used to worry about losing the house, now talks about college. And every year, on the anniversary of that letter, she lights a candle. Not for luck, but in gratitude for the stranger who gave her family a future without ever asking for anything in return. As for Clint, he never reached out, never asked to meet her, never mentioned it in an interview, because to him, this wasn't charity. It was just what you do when you've been blessed with enough, and you see someone fighting the same battles you once did. In a world obsessed with grand gestures and performative generosity, this story reminds us of something rare. The most powerful kindness is the kind that leaves no trace, except in the lives it saves. And somewhere, in a quiet office in Carmel, an old man in a flannel shirt probably smiled, wrote one more check, and went back to work, never knowing or caring that he'd just rewritten someone's destiny with a single act of silent grace.